G'day there, Brian from Dead Ant Building and Pest Inspections. Today we're going to talk about barriers. There's so much that we can talk about, but we'll try and keep it more specific. So with barriers, chemical barriers, once your home is built, basically these are the only areas that you can use to protect your home. So why should you protect your home? Because statistics tell us that 1 in 3 homes have had an attack or are under attack as we speak. So it's very important to protect your homes these days are worth $500,000. So to spend $2,000 or $3,000 over 8 years, it's cheap insurance. So with chemicals barriers, basically what we do is we dig a trench around your home where there's garden or grass against up your house. We dig this down to the foundations and we flood this area with chemical. Where it's concrete, we actually have to drill holes. These holes are about 200 mil apart and they're about a 450 deep hole, and then the high pressure chemical is injected into these areas. Other areas of chemical barriers is a pipe like this, which is called a retic pipe. This is a pipe that's buried into the ground and then can be buried, can be put underneath your concrete driveways and footpaths, so you don't have to drill holes into these areas. And this is just like a special pipe. It's a chemical pipe, a bit like a garden hose, and it's got all these perforated holes into it. So what happens then is you put your connection here from your pump and you highly inject your chemical around the home. So initially this is a little bit more expensive to do, but in the long run it's cheaper because you're not spending the time trenching and drilling holes. Other things that you can use for instead of a retic system or a chemical barrier, other things that people use are what they call bait stations. In years gone by, basically it was this in the ground that had timber inside, and the termite meant to attract to the timber, and you'd have to check these every 3 to 6 months. Open up the top. If there's termites in there, then you could pour poison in onto the termite. But what they've developed these days is a food source that has chemical in it, and this here is put into these bait stations, and you don't have to check them as regularly because the termite attracts to these areas, eat the chemical, takes it back to their nest. My preference though for protecting your home is about chemical barrier because it's just like a moat around a castle. It's protected from no matter what angle the termites come from. With a bait station, you put roughly 1 metre apart around your home, and if you think of a termite being 5 mil in length, a metre for a termite, it's probably 5 acres, of land that the termite can just go bypass these if they want to get into your home. Now what happens is these termites build tunnels underneath the ground, and when they're building these tunnels, they leave pheromones in the tunnel so that the termite, in times gone by, the termite has different tubes going everywhere. They may have a fantastic food source over here which is better than over this side, and they'll call those termites from that tube over to this area to get the best food. Once that food source is emptied out, nothing worthwhile there again, they will follow those pheromones back to that home. So if I've been in my inspections, we've had homes that their chemicals have expired by 3 months and the termites are back. One of the major phone calls that we get when we're talking about barriers is the chemicals. Are they kid friendly, pet friendly? And can they be at home when it's being installed? Today's chemicals certainly a lot safer than years gone by, and for pregnant ladies it's certainly okay. Obviously you're not getting in touch with the chemical. It's not an airborne product, it's a product that's put into the soil. Now if your dog certainly got in there and dug around and had too much ingestion, it would make him sick, but certainly would not kill the dog. In fact, when you're using Frontline, it has the constituent fipronil, which you're actually putting on your dog to kill fleas. And the same for your cats. But if you want to, how long does it take to put a barrier in? In most cases, it takes about 6 hours. It depends on the size of your home. And once we're finished, the chemicals are all buried back into the soil. You're quite welcome for your kids to run around their yard and your animals to be free. So it's very important. Make sure you have your annual checkups and make sure your chemical or your home is protected by some sort of, whether it's physical or a chemical barrier. Now, can physical barriers fail? Absolutely. Now these can happen when the house is being under construction. You've got, most times it's put inside your brickwork around the base of your home, and tradies can drop tools like a trowel, or even plumbers will cut holes through these barriers to put their pipes, and nobody is aware that these have been breached by putting these pipes through. And termites being, all they need is a millimetre to get through, and they're in your home. So make sure you call the professionals. Like Dead Ant, at Dead Ant, we cover everything from protecting the home, fixing termite damage, doing invasive inspections and further investigations. So make sure you call today.